Right.
one first round of interview happened.
Mm-hmm.
In that, he asked only about Postgres.
Okay.
I was selected. He said just add your resume about Oracle.
Hmm.
So go through Oracle videos and all. Just try to get some basics. And
Okay. So
I
Oracle
did
is
it.
totally a different thing, basically, right? Uh,
Yeah, yeah, bro.
so you can do one thing. You can do practice on Oracle also. You have to just install, download the Windows version, and then you have to install SQL Developer to connect that one, or DB Weaver. You can download, and then you can start working on it. But there is too many
Tools are there.
difference. Yeah, too many different. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
because in free version you cannot enable the RMAN, Golden Gate.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have a cluster that is rack, basically, right?
Mm.
Real time active cluster and all, something like that. Then they have RMAN, ASM, right? So you
These are,
cannot go through all these things. Basically, being a DB, you cannot understand all the
mm,
data, basically, right? But
mm.
yes, you can know the basic one. So
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
I have already pronounced some name basically here. That I
Mm-hmm.
use the name basically, that is ASM, Golden Gate, RMAN. RMAN is for backup, basically recovery manager, right?
Yeah.
And then RAG, that is a cluster basically. So you can
So.
just go through, yeah. See, in SQL Server is a only a RDBMS in which you can get all the tools, all the facilities in a single bundle basically. But
Mm-hmm.
in Postgres, in Oracle, you have to enable all these extensions basically. RMAN in Oracle, Golden Gate in Oracle, ASM in ASM in that Oracle, then RAC in Oracle. You have to just enable that. You have to purchase that things. uh, Coming to that Postgres part, you have to just enable all the extension which you want to use in the your environment basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
PG auto explain, auto explain. Then PG auto PG state statement. Then we have basically, right, citers. Then PG pool. Then you have a bouncer, yes, PG bouncer, right? So you have to
Mm.
just enable these features basically, right? You
Yeah.
can get in a single bundle of SSMS, like, right, in SQL Server, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have just noted down all the features, and then you have to just write down, and then you have to just simply you have to Google that, or you can just go to the Oracle portal or Postgres portal, the web pages, and you can just study from there, right?
Okay. So, is there any online portals, bro, to practice Oracle and Linux
No,
like
there's
that?
nothing or online basically. You have to just go with that, and then you can just think about, we can say that, Azure or any cloud services. But you can get some credit basically, right? For
Mhm.
couple for 30 days or 120 days, like that. So you can practice in that.
Okay.
But
So,
yeah, but we can say that not go on Oracle, but sorry, Linux, but you can use on or Windows platform as well.
okay.
You can download Windows platform, exe or ISO,
Mhm.
and then you can
I'll not.
install SQL Server Developer for the Oracle, or
Mm.
DB Weaver for the Oracle. Then you can also install for Postgres PGSQL PG Admin, and you can practice that one. What I have
Okay.
done earlier basically, because I am not a Oracle DBA basically, right? But yeah,
Mhm.
if you have to work on that migration part, you have to know the basic about that RDBMS basically, how the
Mhm.
query is, the table structure, then function and procedure, whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you can just migrate that things, right?
Mm.
Okay.
So, my brain is going actually.
If you talk with me now, then I can discuss in all the RDMs basically, right? Because I've done too many migrations and all. Sorry, DB2 also I've done migration, right? And
Okay.
Sybase not done, but Sybase, yeah, done, but not in HANA, SAP HANA.
Okay.
It is totally different. I have not done anything, but just I done L1 level support monitoring part in HANA basically. So you have to just think about the architecture basically, and the requirement based basically, right? So you just
Okay.
create a plan of action, what we know, what the requirement is, then we have to just calculate all these things, what is missing behind that, right? Then we have to just work on that, then you can deliver this project smoothly.
They
Now,
are asking about just this is a migration project. Actually, we are migrating the data from Oracle to Linux. So SQL we don't need.
mhm.
We need to work on commands only.
Yes, this is Oracle and
So
PG admin, right?
yeah, easy admin
So there is
and this.
there is a Aura and PG tool for the migration. Have you heard
Yeah,
about
yeah,
this? Aura
or
PG tool.
to yeah, or to
ORG2
PG.
PG2.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
That tool. He just asked me which tool do you use for this. Yeah, I said my. I
You have not done this, and then how can you explain basically, right?
I said Oracle part. I don't know anything. PGSQL I know because he asked about execution plans, how to
Uh-huh.
string the table like that. I
Mhm.
explained very well when it comes to Postgres.
Right, right.
So he impressed with that. Then wait for the second round. I will speak with my managers regarding your profile
Mhm.
like that. He said.
Okay, okay, not an issue. So I think no need to go with that Postgres part, right? We can start SQL Server from
SQL
that,
Server.
yes,
This is
from
the
that
basic,
scratch.
bro. Actually,
So I think today's topic you can see that meeting invite MS SQL training for beginners, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think you are not knowing ABCD of MS SQL simply.
From the first, I have to start.
Yes, yes. So I'm just thinking of that you are not aware of the MS SQL server, and I'm going to start that one.
Okay,
Re- right. So
okay.
regarding this MS SQL, there's a history. I think 1988 they have started along with the SAP. We can not SAP, but the Sybase. There are two teams which has developed that time SQL basically. The
Hmm.
SAP, Sybase team. Now it is Sybase basically, but previously they are Microsoft basically. Okay,
Hmm.
so Sybase and Microsoft work together for the architecture and the design of the data engine of the MS SQL server in 1988,
Okay,
and they launched the first version of SQL Server is 9.6,
okay.
and then 98, then 2000, right? Then
Yeah.
2005, then 2008, 2008 R2, 2008 2008 R2, yes, 2008 R2, then 2012, 14, 16, 17,
17,
19, and
19,
22.
22.
These are the versions, right? Then we have a edition. So edition, previously we heard about that, Express edition, Web edition, Data Center edition, Developer edition, Standard edition, and Enterprise edition. But in the 2012, we they launched that BI edition,
Okay,
right? And
okay.
Web edition also, but they are now deprecated the Web edition. Web and BI, Web is deprecated, but BI in the place, right? For the BI activities and all, that is Power Pivot, right? They introduced Power Pivot that time, right?
Yeah.
And next we can say that in SQL Server, regarding the TDS format, that is TDS. I think you have heard about that query process, query flow in the SQL Server.
It's a
So
TDS packets.
yeah, so we have that SNI, that is SQL Server Network Interface. So application landing on that SNI, the connections
Okay.
from application to database, that landing on the SNI, that is SQL Server Network Interface, right?
Yeah.
And SQL Server Network Interface, they are landed with via TCP/IP name pipeline or whatever, right? Or we can shared memory, right? You have heard about
Yeah.
this shared
Yeah.
memory. This is
Yeah.
a SQL Server configuration manager.
Um.
Or I will show you that, right?
Yeah.
What is the difference between that, right? Then that connection land on that SNI, then they go to that TDS, that is tabular data stream. Means that connections, the command coming from that application, database is converted into TDS format, that is tabular data streaming. That tool developed by that, the we can say that this what is this, Sybase.
Mm.
So that tool developed by the Sybase, the TDS
Okay.
tool, this tabular data streaming. So after TDS is going to that CM, sorry, not we can say that we can see the architecture like the command, not command parser, not query tree, then command parser, sorry, command parser, then query tree, then performance optimizer, then we have access, then we have a data buffer manager, right? That is buffer manager. Then we have a transactional transactional manager, right? So they are
Okay.
looking at that log part and log part, right? Transactional
Yeah.
manager.
Yeah.
And then we have a data files, and then we have a plan cache, buffer cache, and in the part of buffer manager, right? We see
Buffer
that
man.
yeah, in
Yeah.
the part of buffer manager we have a data plan cache and buffer cache, right?
Yeah.
These are three things. I think I can show you the layout. Just hold a minute. I have to open one file. Let's see with the diagram first. I think
Your
to-
video is stucking actually.
my video is stucking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me check my ISP basically. This is dedicated one for this training only. This is not shared yet. How it is now? This
Yeah. It's
system is
okay.
running. This system is running on different ISP basically. This is not running on the different ISP. This is different one.
Or else,
Because I have a two ISP.
Mhm.
They have I using two broadband basically.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I have just distributed all these things for home appliances, that mobile, webcam, and other, that is cameras, CCTV cameras. This is the different one, right?
Mhm.
For the training part, working for the support, there are different ISP.
Okay.
On that ISP I'm working. This is a 3 Mbps per 3 Mbps plan basically, 300 Mbps.
300. Okay. I'm
Yeah, the
using
shared
200 Mbps, but it's not working.
but the my shared one is 100 Mbps basically. This is from
Okay.
Airtel, and this is for the local dedicated basically, because we have to just
Okay.
work and right, like
Bro, one
so.
second before we are going into flow, I'll
Mhm.
check all connections because something your video is stucking. I'll check myself before we are going to flow.
Okay, okay. You can check it. I just opening my
Yeah, yeah.
document
Documents.
for them. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Okay, so have you restarted?
నా దానికి ఏమైనా కనెక్ట్ చేస్తుందా వైఫై లేదు కదా? Okay. నాకు సరిగ్గా నెట్వర్క్ రావట్లేదు, వర్షం పడుతుంది కదా అందుకని. Yes, bro.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm good now.
so now I'm going to share my screen, right?
Yeah.
So I've discussed too many things regarding the basic component, and we are discussing about the query flow basically. This is a part of performance tuning, but here we discuss the brief about that, right?
Yes, yes.
So let's see if you are able to see my shared screen. That is SQL Server architecture, right?
Architect. Yep.
So here we are discussing about that SNI, that is SQL Server Network Interface. I think you are able to see my
Mm.
cursor here, right? Then
Yep.
we have TDS, right? Tabular
Yeah.
data streaming, then command parser, then query tree, optimizer, executor, right? This is a part of relational database engine, right?
Yeah.
Then we go for that OLDB OS or SQL Server OS. Then we have a access method and transactional manager and buffer manager. Two component is a major component in database or a storage engine, right?
Okay.
So transactional manager look into that log transactions or log transactions, right?
Hmm.
Means log means just logging all the errors, transactions and all. A lock means this is locking the objects, right?
Okay. Okay.
So transactional manager looking into this these two tasks only. Log
Hmm.
manager and lock manager, right? It's clear.
Okay. Okay. Clear.
Then we have a buffer manager.
Okay.
Buffer manager is a part of performance tuning, means we can say that if we are configured server as a best practices, data will reside in memory for easily accessible, right? If you are going to read the data every time from the disk, means there's a IO utilization, right?
Hmm.
Means you are not getting from the buffer manager, means the plan cache, the data cache, right? This is a part of buffer pool, and the major part is part of buffer manager, right? He's
Okay.
managing about that query plan and data,
Okay.
right? Means we have, if we'll discuss later in the deep, because this is a part of performance tuning or query tuning, you can say that, right?
Okay.
So this is just the whole structure. We can see that any connections from any application, any tool landing on that SNI, that is SQL Server Network Interface, then his transaction converted into TDS format, that is tabular data streaming,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Then that is on protocol, we have a TCP/IP protocol, right?
Okay.
Shared memory or name pipeline. I think you
Okay.
are aware of this
Yes. Yes.
protocol.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will show you that, right?
Yep.
Then we have a check the syntax check, means command parser, whatever written from the end user or application, that is totally syntaxical test flow or not, right? Means in a this is written in a flow. Basically we can write that select a star from the object, right? We cannot
Okay.
write as a object from the select, right?
Hmm.
So there's a syntax check. Then there are query tree. Query tree means that is plan for that query, and then go
Okay.
to the optimizer for asking that for plan. If they have a plan, then you can use the best one. And they go asking for the access method. Do you have a data for this plan, or we have to just go to read the data from the disk, right? This is our
Yeah.
access method,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Then we have a transactional manager, means that is manage the transaction, that is transactional log or lock, means the transactions perform. Yeah, two things here:
Hmm.
log, lock, log.
LOCK lock.
Yes, two things here. So it's managing two things here. Transaction can be locked or logged, means
Okay.
whatever the changes we have made, that is logged into the database engine, right? We have
Hmm.
modified this table, this column and this data, right? This is
Okay.
log.
Okay.
If anyone taken ownership of any object, this is a log,
Okay.
right? If he's reading the data, he's taking a lock on that object and reading the data. Means
Okay.
if we have an employee table and we have selected, then select a star from the employee where ID is 100, so we have taken a lock for the table reading that 100
100.
number 100 employee ID, right? This is a
Yeah.
lock.
Okay.
Okay, but we are modifying, select a star, sorry, alter, sorry, update table where, sorry, update the table, and the condition is that based on the employee ID is 100, the salary is 12,000, right? So
Hmm.
then we have also take a lock on that object employee table and update that salary part, the column name, the row ID, right?
Okay.
So transactional manager looking into the two things: log and lock.
Lock. Both.
Yes, both, right?
Hmm.
This is also a part of performance tuning, right?
Performance. Okay.
Then coming to the performance tuning part, if our data reside, access manager look into the buffer manager asking that, do you have data for this query?
Okay.
If yes, then go to the data cache, right?
Okay.
And get data from the data buffer pool and send to end user,
Hmm.
right? Through the
Okay.
SNI and
Yes.
outside the that is go to the application or dashboard or display, whatever, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
If not, then buffer manager asks the data file,
Data file. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So at that point of time, there's a IO issue, because
Hmm.
the transaction going to every time to that data file reading from the disk, not from the memory.
Okay.
So we know that memory is faster than disk,
Okay.
right? So whatever the data we are using frequently, that should be reside in our memory. So we
Memory.
have to focus on the memory configuration part on the SQL server or any RDBMS.
Mm.
Means we have to store more and more data in our memory to boost the performance of databases, right? So
Okay.
here is a hint, like in a SQL server we see that PLE, that is page life
But
expectancy, right?
yeah.
If the data is not residing in the memory, means the page life expectancy is low basically, right? That is
Okay.
below 300, means the data is not residing more than 300 seconds in the data buffer, data
Okay.
cache, right? Means
Okay.
every time end user is going to read the data from the disk.
Mm.
So so reduce this problem, means we can say to resolve this problem, we have to think about the PLE, the memory management, and the structure of that databases, right?
Yeah.
So this is a part of performance tuning. We can deep dive in the next coming sessions,
Comments.
right?
Okay.
Here we have just see the query flow and the major component of SQL Server architecture in that relational database engine and the sorry a storage engine, right?
Mm.
Now we are starting from the initial,
Okay.
because we are starting as an initial because this is a simply a beginner training, like beginner
Right.
training session, right?
Mm-hmm.
So starting from this PPT, this is a very old PPT at, okay, but I've
Okay.
created for the training only.
Okay.
So who is DBA basically? Who is DBA? The guy who can perform the implementation part, maintenance part, troubleshooting part, and the performance tuning part in a SQL Server or any RDBMS, known as DBA. Simple statement, right?
Okay.
Means the guy who can install any RDBMS, monitor that, manage that, troubleshooting on that, or do some performance if they get call from the end user for the slowness and some issues basically, right?
Yeah.
So DBA can perform installation, configuration, designing, migration, space management, monitoring, providing access, performance tuning, log and securities, DR and HDR management, troubleshooting, backup and recovery, query tuning, and capacity planning. So the guy who perform these activities known as DBA, means database administrator, whatever the RDBMS he is using or working on. That is MySQL, MS SQL, Oracle, PGSQL, HANA, SAP, sorry, we can say Sybase, right? So these are the RDBMS basically. There is NoSQL also, like MongoDB, Cassandra, right?
Yeah.
Couchbase, many more, right? So this is a role about that DBA only. So in this session we are just going to discuss about only the DBA roles and responsibility, activity and implementation maintenance part, which he or she can perform in that organization basically, right?
Okay.
Now to the first question is that DBA means database admin, means database administrator. So what is database? So database is a collection of
Data.
meaningful information in a structured manner basically, right?
Okay.
Any information but that is in a structure in the form of row and column or a tabular format, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that is a database. That is simply you can say that this is a container in which we are storing the data in a tabular format. That is a database. It's just a container, right?
Okay.
Next, the basic about the hardware. So SQL service application, right? This is a database application. This is on the top of the hardware and the OS basically, right?
Mm.
So hardware is just we can touch the physically, that is occupied some space, is called hardware basically. Like there's RAM, CPU, motherboard, uh, SSD, storage drive, right?
Okay.
So this is the hardware basically. Monitor, keyboard, mouse. These are the hardwares, right?
Mm.
So the hardware we cannot use without any software basically.
Okay.
So the software is a application which we can say that is will allow us to work user friendly basically with the hardware and the end user basically, means the OS part basically, right? We can say that this is software basically. OS is a software basically, right?
Okay.
Operating system.
Oh.
We cannot use RAM without any application basically, right?
Mm.
How can we allocate, how can we relocate that memory and the storage? So we have to
Mm.
just need one interface basically, right? So that interface is OS platform, right? Operating system platform, that is Linux, Microsoft, sorry, Windows, and then we have a Mac OS, right?
Mm.
That
Mm.
is Apple product, right? Next, we are discussing about the storage. So storage, we have a many type of storage. Previously, we have a PATA, SATA, IDE, right? ASCII, SSD, right? So in
Okay.
SSD, we have too many things right now, right? That is SSD means solid state device, right?
Okay.
SATA is real attachment. Then previously we think about heard about that floppy drive, right?
Yeah. Floppy
So
drives.
that is deprecated basically in the from the market. Now we are using just memory. Previously we have a CD-ROM, right? CD-ROM,
Mm. See.
DVD-ROM, right? This is
Yeah.
a ROM basically read-only memory, right? We cannot edit
Mm.
that one. But
Yeah.
storage we can edit that one. If any data reside on the storage, we can edit that one. It modify that one, right?
Yeah.
Then from the RDB, sorry, data part, we have a two type of RDBs in the market, right? Relation data management, that is OLTP and OLAP, right?
Okay. Okay.
So OLAP and OLTP, there's difference between OLTP, online transactional processing. OLAP means online analytics processing, right? So
Okay.
for any online transactions, that the banking sector, the any financial sector, right, which following the SEC properties, right? ATM, we can say that, right? This is a
Okay.
examp of
Online
OLTP.
transactions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
OLAP, we have a newspaper.
Mm.
Forecasting of climate, that is OLAP. So whatever the application for that climate change, geographical, or we can say newspaper, that is working on that is they are using OLAP basically, because they are analyzing the data and then they are broadcasting these things. We This is going to be happen in future, right?
Okay. 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 That is
But
all apps.
OLTP means at point of time you're performing, going to the
Mm.
ATM, putting inside the card, inserting the card, and put that PIN number and getting the money,
Mm. Mm.
right? So that's the
Yes.
online transactions, right?
Yeah.
Or from that any e-commerce sites, we are going to purchase anything, we can go logging ID and then we will pay something, and from the UPI, the net banking card, right? And get it delivered to at uh, doorstep, right?
Okay.
So that application is known as OLTP.
LTP.
So these are difference between that. We are not going to read all these things. It will take
Mm.
time basically, right? But this
Yeah. Yeah.
simple example between OLTP and OLAP, right?
All up. Okay.
Then something difference between file system RDBMS, DBMS, and NoSQL.
No skill.
So when we think about the computer age basically, right? So previously we are storing data in files like Notepad, WordPad, Excel, Access, right?
Okay.
Then on the top of we get the DBMS, database management systems, right? MS
Mm.
Access, right? Which is storing the data in tabular format that point of. Then we have but we cannot make a relation between that Excel sheet
Excel.
and right. So we
Mm.
have got new features, that is RDBMS, that is relational data management system, in which we can make a relation between two or more than that objects, right? Relation
Mm.
between both. We can write data from parent to child, right?
Yeah.
So there's a relation between that objects basically, right? This is known as RDBMS, right? Then
RDP.
no SQL, that is they are not defining that the structure basically. This is totally unstructured data, right? The
Yeah.
document, key value, wide column, and graph, right? So MongoDB, Cassandra, Couchbase databases, right? These are that no SQL databases.
This
Okay.
is
Then this is the difference between the file system. No need to go inside that.
okay.
Here we are just discussing about that.
SSD.
Sorry, SSD, because
Mm.
being a DB, we have to work on that storage part, and we have to think about that what we are doing and what are the IO status of that databases on disk basically, right? We are
Mm.
writing something, some reading data from the disk. So what is the performance? That IO means input output system, right? IOPS
Mm.
disk, right? per second. So we think about that, how we are writing a data, how millions of data writing is this, the time consumption, the performance. So we have to think about the SSD. This is a drive, basically solid state, right?
Right. Okay.
Drives. Previously we have a SAS, IDE, right? Integrated device systems, right? Then SAS is a serial attachment. Okay, SAS is that is SAS basically. That is this different one basically. I'm missing something like SAS. Let me go here. I've not mentioned a SAS. This is also a stage basically,
Yes.
a storage
Yes,
basically.
yes, yeah.
SSD is different one. SAS is also a drive basically. We are getting the storage devices for that, right? So this is not faster than SSD basically, right? Now currently we have a SSD. This is
Yes,
very
yes,
faster,
yeah.
yeah, very faster to write a data on the disk. Then we already discussed about the OS basic. This is a platform which will make a user friendly from the hardware and the end user, right? We have
Okay.
Linux, Windows, and Mac OS. Then, being a
Sure.
DBA, we have to know about the networks, because our database reside. We can access via network basically, right?
Okay.
Or application connect to the databases via network basically, right? So we have that. We can say that network type of networks, right? So
Hmm.
that is LAN, MAN, PAN, right? Means uh, LAN means local area network, MAN means metropolitan network, and WAN means wide area network, right? So
Yeah.
currently OLTP, OLAP, what are databases working on that? WAN only, not on LAN, not on MAN basically, because we are working as an enterprise all over the world, right? We are
Okay.
sitting in the Bangalore, sitting in the Delhi, but the data center is in US, then Dubai, then China, right?
Yeah.
We're accessing the data and working on that. So these are the type of networks. And for networks we have a classes basically. So in network, IP addresses are divided into five classes basically, A, B, C, D, right?
Okay.
And they have a range basically. So we can say that except that 127.0.0.1, that is loopback address for the testing of the VLANs,
Okay.
VLANs or network card basically, we use that, but this is not used in network basically. We cannot assign 127.0.0.1 to any resources or
This
then
okay.
any
Mhm.
object in the network basically, because this is not useful basically. This is a only a loopback address for testing the devices, network devices, right?
Okay.
But ABC, we have a class, B class, and C class that is used in the network along with the subnets. In that, you can map millions of or thousands of network devices in the network, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So here's some data here. In class A, we can add 16 million hosts basically, means the client, the servers, the routers and switches, right?
Hmm.
We have to just make a subnet of this IP
Okay.
addresses.
Okay.
In the subnet, we can get many networks, right? So in
Mhm.
that, we getting 127 networks. In 27 networks divided into that subnets also, right? So there's a tool now. Previously, we don't have a tool in 2008, 2007. So we just calculate that with the law, based on the logic, basically, right?
Hmm.
Now you can get the subnet on the single click on the web pages basically, right? So these are the classes here, ABC. This is a part of network. So any host has a dedicated IP addresses, the physical IP addresses, okay?
Mhm. Mhm.
Not dynamic, that is a static IP addresses. For the
Okay.
databases, for the application, we can pass that a static IP address, that is not a dynamic. Dynamic means this is DSCP, right? Dynamic host control protocol, right? DSCP.
Okay. DSCP. Okay.
So when
DHC.
the system is restarted,
Hmm.
the IP address will change after the restart. That is
Okay.
DSCP.
Okay.
So you can think about that. What is the drawback of DSCP? If we are using any application, enterprise application, and the databases, and every time we are restarting after a couple of months, then it will ask for the new IP addresses. So end user will not able to connect with the databases because the IP address is changed, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we prefer the physical static IP addresses for databases and application,
Hmm.
not DSCP. DSCP for the Wi-Fi connections.
Okay.
what the device is coming in the Wi-Fi and nearby the Wi-Fi, it will take the free IP address and connect with the Wi-Fi. But the dedicated, the enterprise application IP address will be static and mapped to that NIC card, network interface
Okay.
coordinator, right? Controller we
Okay.
can say that. Yeah. Mhm. This is not required. This is not required. No, no. We have done this network. So going forward, this is not related to you. Basically, it's a part of networking. That is
Networking.
right. Yeah, that totally networking. OSI model basically, right? So you can just hear about we are working on the TCP/IP transport layer. This is the fourth one.
Mhm.
DBA work on this.
Okay.
No
Transport
need
layer.
to aware about, yeah, we no need to aware about the client protocol application layer, presentation layer, session layer. I don't know because
Mhm.
we are not a network engineer or
Yeah. Yeah.
that data center engineer. We working on transport layer, right?
Okay.
It is about the network only. This is a part of development. We'll discuss EF core later, right? You have heard
Mhm.
about EF core rules, right? This is for development only.
Yeah. 12 routes or 12 something.
Yes, 12
So,
rules
so
here.
yeah.
Now, here we have to, I think you have heard about the RAID level, right?
Yeah.
Redundant array of independent disk, right?
Mm.
So while writing a data on a RAID 0 or RAID 1, there are chances of data loss, right?
Okay.
Because let's say example you are using a database server on installing on your laptop. You have only one single drive, right?
Mm.
Storage, not drive,
Yeah.
storage we can say that.
Mm.
And unfortunately that is crashed. Then you cannot recover the data.
Yeah.
So RAID is required here for the database part only.
Mhm.
In the RAID, we have benefit. We are writing data on multiple disk, like a
Okay.
mirroring, sharding, right?
Mhm.
And it also boosts the performance of databases to read and write performance, basically. So here's couple of RAID level in hardware market. We can say that RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 10, RAID 01, RAID 5, and RAID 10. Being a DBA, we have to think about the RAID along with the application, what the application is going to perform, basically the major activities like insert, update, or delete, or just reading the data, means read or write. So what is the
Okay.
major activity by the application? Just going to read the data or write the data? What is the ratio for that?
Mhm.
On the
Mm.
basis of that, we can decide on which RAID level we have to keep the data file and log file on the
Okay.
databases.
Okay.
So like let's see example of TempDB. So TempDB used for read and write both very
Okay.
frequently. Let's say if you're creating temporary tables, inserting some data, then we are manipulating that one and then throwing that the outputs to the end user. Means that
Mm.
is TempDB is highly utilized. Means it
Okay.
is highly IO intensive database, right?
Mhm.
So being a DBA, we have to think and that we can assign that we are just writing more data, more reading the data, or more writing the data. So we need to require high performance disk. That is
Okay.
10.
Mm.
10 means RAID 10.
Okay.
So in that we are mirroring, stripping both, right?
Okay.
But there's a drawback inside that we can use only the half of the storage. Means you have created the RAID 10 and you have attached four disk, four disk of 1 TB. Then you can use only 2 TB of data.
Okay.
You have added 4 TB, right?
Yes. Yes.
But you are using only 2 TB of data because it will going for the mirroring and
For two.
streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but mirroring on two disks basically.
Yep.
So the best practice is that if one disk is corrupted, we can change on the runtime. There's no
Okay.
data loss, there's no downtime. So RAID is
Okay.
required for that only, right?
Okay.
That's why we can say redundant array of independent disk. Disks are totally independent, not dependent on each other.
Okay. Okay.
If any disk corrupted, we can change on fly, online.
Okay.
No need downtime. no need any downtime frame for that changing the hardwares, right? That's why it required
Okay.
whatever we configure as per the application requirement, right?
Okay.
It's clear so far.
Yeah. Clear.
Okay. Then this is not related to data as SLA. Basically,
SLA.
this is a part of agreement only, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Now
Support
leave
properties.
it. These are the server level versions, prerequisites. So every hardware has some prerequisites on the hardware you can install. The basic requirement. If you are not matching the basic requirement application, that will throwing an error, and we cannot install that one, right? So we
Okay.
minimal hardware required for any application in the market. So for
Mm-hmm.
SQL Server, minimal, we can see that 2 GB of memory or now 4 GB of memory required, because this is a huge base. Previously it required 1 GB, 2005 2008, but
Okay.
now we require 4 GB dedicated RAM for the SQL Server, because we this is a very huge application, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can cap that memory 70%, means 3 GB, and 1 GB for the other activities. So minimum required 4 GB of memory, then
4 GB.
OS platform 64-bit,
Bit.
and at least 2 core of CPU, 1 or 2 core of CPU, you can install that one, right? A
Okay.
network as a 100 Gbps or 1000 Gbps, we can use that one, or 10 Gbps, whatever the maximum you have, right? So you can
Yeah.
use that one. This is about that. So when we install SQL services, we see that there are three services. Mainly, we see the three services in the SQL Server when we install the minimal setup of SQL Server, not the default one. That
Nice. Okay.
minimal, right?
Okay.
We see that SQL Server services, browser services, and the third one, that SQL Server agent
Eight.
service, right?
Yeah.
But in SQL Server Express Edition, we do not see that agent. That is agentless server, right? SQL Server Express Edition,
Okay.
whatever the version you are using.
Mm.
But the edition is SQL Server Express, that is totally agentless,
Then place.
and there's a limitations of 10 GB of data, right?
Okay.
In Express Edition, there are two thing limitations in Express Edition. This is a free,
Mm.
and in the free we are getting not getting that agent
Agent services.
and the unlimited data. This is binded, means
Okay.
we are not getting agent, not getting data more than 10 GB.
Okay.
Okay, the additional services in the SQL Server is integration services, reporting services, and analysis services. But now this is not a part of single installation. This is not a part of
Mm-hmm.
SQL Server agent bundle of SQL Server agent, right?
Okay.
We have to download separate exe for reporting services.
Mm-hmm.
On 2019 and or onwards, I think 27 20, no, 2017 and onwards, right?
Okay.
So a reporting services is SSRS simply. Same
Mm-hmm.
SQL Server
Yes.
reporting service is
Mm.
SSRS, right?
Yeah.
Analysis service SSSAS, right?
Mm.
And integration services SSIS, right?
I guess. Yeah.
Then when he installed SQL Server, we get four data system databases, like master,
Yeah.
model, and TempDB, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we have a protocols, like this is a old one picture, but we can get TCP/IP, name pipeline, and shared
Memory.
memory. We'll discuss later, right? These are the
Yeah.
protocols basically. If you
Mm.
are using enterprise level application, keep it on TCP/IP. If you are
Yeah.
using locally, then you can
Name records.
ask
Yeah.
for name pipeline, right?
Mm.
And the same server application is shared memory, right? As it's shared, right?
Yeah.
This is done. No need to think about the TCP/IP. This is different one, connecting protocols. Da-da-da-da. And coming to this one, so we discuss this on system databases and all, right?
Okay.
So for the system database, what is master? Do you know about the master? What is master?
It's contain configuration information.
Configuration and information on the instance or database server, and all each and
Or
every activity
every.
performed the end user or the system itself that is recorded or collected by the masters, right? Master
Okay.
DB.
Okay.
Model is a template only. This is just a model. MSDB does is for automations and
Automations.
backup and recovery. You can use that.
Okay.
TempDB is for the temporary activities and tasks, right?
Yeah.
Sorting and getting temporary tables and all. Use the
Mm.
temporary tables. Then we have a user databases, means whatever the application connected to the user database, we can store data that is written by the application and the end user, right?
Yeah.
Next, we this is a definition basically, so we cannot say anything. This is totally part of the definition only, right? Then going
Mm.
forward, so we have to see the state of databases, right?
Okay.
Database in which state, that is online, offline, in
Offline.
recovery, suspended, right?
Yeah.
Standby, synchronize, asynchronized, right? These are state of databases, right?
Yeah.
So online means you can perform each and every activity with data is available for the end user, right? Offline means you
Hmm.
cannot
We cannot.
use
We
that.
cannot
Right?
perform. Yeah.
Recovering means you're waiting for the last restore backup, right?
Yeah.
And the recovery pending means is looking for the log files and other pending data.
Okay.
Suspected means that is unavailable for the user connections, maybe the damage of data files and log files, right? Restoring
Okay.
means it is initializing the process of restoration of database. Emergency means this is change of the state of databases emergency because someone is performing some activity on databases, right? Making his
Okay.
emergency or single user, and then only sysadmin can work on that, right?
Okay.
It's a part of maintenance only. That then we have a query status. So there are status of query like running, suspended, runnable, sleeping, background, and
Sleeping.
pending.
Mm.
So as named as running means it is executing,
Currently
not
running. Yeah.
running, not completed his task, right?
Yeah.
Suspended means it is waiting for the other outputs, other resources for the completing the task, right? Runnable
Okay.
means it is waiting for some resources or processor for the executor or workers to execute this command, right? Sleeping
Okay.
means task has completed but not disconnected to the server, right? Means it
Okay.
has done activities but it will
Okay.
connect to the system, right? Not
Yeah.
performing any active transactions. Background means
Okay.
these are system transactions, resource monitors and deadlocks, whatever these system activities is in the background, right?
Okay.
Pending means waiting for the workers to pick that task to execute, right?
Okay.
So these are the query status. So we have seen here database states and query states, right?
Statistics. Yes.
So if anyone asking you that what are the different type of database states, then you can explain that that is emergency mode, online, offline,
Online.
suspended,
Offline. Suspended.
restoring, recovering, right?
Yeah.
And then about the query, that is running, suspended, runnable, sleeping, background, and pending. Then we have a server level roles, right? So in
Okay.
server level roles, we can assign to the end user to perform activity on the server based on their roles, right? That there are seven type of server level roles, right? Backup operator, bulk admin, security admin, setup admin, sys admin,
Admin.
public, right?
Server admin. Yeah.
Yeah, that are the server level roles, right?
Mm.
Then we have a database level roles also, right? This is
Yeah.
system defined. You can also define user as per requirement, right?
Yeah.
They are system level roles: system admin, security admin, setup admin, server admin, process admin, disk admin,
Disk
DB
admin.
creator, bulk admin, and public.
Okay.
Database role, that is DB owner, DB security admin, database operator, access admin, DDL admin, DD reader, data writer, deny, and deny writer. Deny means we cannot, you are connected to the database, but you cannot perform read or write, right? If you
Yeah. Yeah.
deny that one, right?
Yeah.
And you can also create a custom roles basically for the data as per requirement,
If
right? If required.
so, revoke we can use, right, with instead of this deny writer.
I think I have not used, be honest, but revoke is different. Revoke means me removing data basically, not
Yeah. Yeah.
denying. Here, sorry, here if you're denying means it will able to connect,
Okay. Okay.
but in revoke you can revoke that he will not able to connect the database also.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine.
That is
Fine.
different.
Different. Okay.
Then there are the recovery models. So recovery model depend on the data present in the database and activities basically, right? So
Yeah.
on based on recovery models, you can perform the backup activities, right?
Okay.
Because what they are storing the database is based on recovery model only, right? Full
Okay.
backup, it is storing all these things. Okay, DDL and DML. Bulk log, it is basically storing all that, but minimal log, right? Not as a
Okay.
full.
Full.
Means the first LSN and last LSN,
Mm.
right? For the
Yeah.
activities. And simple recovery, it is just that it is just we can say that uh, not logging the all the activities. It is not basically, you can say that it is not logging your activities. Basically, it is just writing a data to a disk. Means
Okay. Direct
it
disk. It is.
means in simple recovery, log file will not grow,
Okay.
because in activity we are just writing a data in the log if the checkpoint is not fired, right? But in the
Yeah.
simple recovery, it will all data written on disk, not on dirty pages or not in T-log,
Till.
right?
Okay.
So that's why we cannot perform T-log backup in the simple recovery model. Means
Mm-hmm.
we cannot achieve point in time recovery.
Yeah.
So if you want to point in time recovery, you have to think about that recovery model that is full or bulk logged only.
Mm-hmm.
So if any disaster happen, then you can recover the data at point in time, right?
Okay.
So based on recovery model, you can perform the backups, right? So if
Yes.
you are if data is in full recovery model, you can perform full log differential, whatever the backup facilities we have, right?
Okay.
But in simple, we can perform only full and
Full
differential, not
on
log.
a differential log we can't perform. Yeah.
Yes, because log is in this finally, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are the highlights of that recovery models, what we can perform, right?
Mm.
We have discussed here already, right? So going forward, yeah. So the backup part, basically we discuss a full differential and log, copy only, partial,
Okay.
and we have a
Partial.
T-log backup also.
Mm. Yeah.
So in review question, s- ma- very frequently interviewer asks that if our database is crash anyhow, right?
Mm.
So how can you perform that point in recovery?
Okay.
So is there any chance to get the data? So
Yeah.
we have a full backup, we have a difference and log backup.
Differential
So
transaction backups, and
transaction log backup,
we
like,
can
right?
take tail lag backups before
Yes,
crashing.
yes. So that will get that the data from the log files and we can restore, and we
Yeah.
can avoid the major data we can loss basically, right?
Loss, data
Yeah.
loss. Yeah.
So to minimize the data loss basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
So till now we have discussed about the recovery model, backup, server
Mm-hmm.
role, database roles, query state, database states, right?
Yeah.
And the versions and limitations in SQL Server. So these are topics we have covered so far. Do you have any questions so that we can discuss here?
As of now, I don't have any questions
Okay.
in this part. In this part, I'm clear because
So okay. So now we are going forward about the implementation part of HADR, DR, right?
okay,
Clustering, right? So
okay,
SQL Server allow us to uh, enable or implement DR, HADR clustering, named as log shipping, replication, mirroring. Mirroring is not a clustering, not a high abilities, but we can say that we have a hot backup of the
hot backup.
database.
Yeah, yeah,
Same data, hot backup we are deciding on, keeping on that secondary or we can say mirror server, right? Then we
okay.
have a clustering and then we have a always on, right? So these
Hmm.
are the five DR or HADR functionality or features SQL Server provide us to implement in our environment based on the requirement.
Okay,
So log shipping, this is a database level implementation part for DR, means we are replicating or we are shipping the log
hmm.
of the primary database to the secondary one.
Okay. Only logs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in that we cannot say that we get a point in time recovery of database for after any disaster, because
So,
the log backup we are taking, there's a retention for that 5 minute, 10 minute or 15 minute or above, right?
Yeah.
So if you are implementing the retention period of 5 minutes in a log shipping, means you are thinking or you are aware of that we are going to lose or
Lost five
bear of
minutes of data.
5 minutes of data, right?
Yeah.
Because you cannot recover point in time recovery data in
Hmm.
log shipping.
Hmm.
This is a drawback. Next is replication. So in replication we have a four type of replication. Replication, before going type, basically we have to know about the replication.
Replication.
Replication, it is not a database level, not a server level. It is a article based, or we can say that it is a object level replication. Means we are moving tables, means primary tables,
Okay.
from publisher to subscriber.
Okay.
So the terminology change. In log shipping we have a primary and secondary, right?
Hmm.
In replication we have publisher and subscriber.
Okay.
Then we come to the next part is mirroring. So before that mirroring we discuss about that replication type. So we are four type, there are four type of replication. That is a snapshot, that we perform that point of time, you can get the data while executing this or implementing the snapshot. Then we have
Okay.
transactional, means the transaction which is done on publisher, that is pull or push by that distribution on that replica part, replica server, that is subscriber server, right?
Okay.
Then we have a
Merge.
merge, means
Merge.
you are writing data from the both side. And then peer to peer, means which are peer, that means there's a simple which is connected to that, dedicated to the database servers, so we can move the data to that dedicated nodes basically,
No.
right?
Okay.
Then coming to the mirroring part. So now we have seen that log shipping, replication, then we have mirroring. So mirroring we have a just as a named mirroring, means is a mirror of databases, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
The exact hot copy of
Yeah.
mirror data, that is
Mirror.
there's a principal server. So here the terminology change. Here we can say that master database means principal server, right?
Okay.
And the we can say the standby server or mirror server, right? Hot
Hmm.
standby server, right? There are two type of mirroring, basically synchronized or asynchronized. So totally depend on what you are going to implement. We require best protection or best performance, right?
Okay.
Protection means high safety or high performance, right?
Okay.
So we have to just implement that. If you're
Synchrony.
going for, yeah, high safety means synchronize, high performance means asynchronous, because we
Yes.
are not waiting for the packets reply from that mirror server, right? We are just
Okay.
sending our packets from the primary to principal to mirror server, right?
Mirror. Hmm.
Then coming to the next topic is clustering. Clustering is not a database level, it is a server level.
Okay.
So previously we discussed about the log shipping and mirroring. Log shipping and mirroring both are on database level, but both terminologies are different, right? In
Okay.
log shipping, we are not getting point in time recovery, but in mirroring, we get point in time recovery, but this is not HADR, high abilities, because because we cannot perform automatic failover without any witness. If you are a witness, then you can do automatic failover, right?
Okay.
Else there's a manual failover, right?
Hmm.
But log shipping is totally manual activities. There's no
Okay.
automations, no any automatic failover in that, all right?
Mhm.
So we are discussing about clustering. So clustering, they are this is on server level, basically clustering active node or passive node or active node. So active node, we have to use only the best practice is only you can use half of the resources, because if any disaster happen and roll back, sorry, this is got a failover, so it will utilize all the resources and will be disaster of the uh, active server also, right?
Okay.
So before configuring, we have to think about that resources as well. What are the resources we are allocating to the database engine, basically in active, right? But in
Okay.
active passive, we can assign or use all the resources as you are using as a standalone servers. Means the
Mhm.
memory, the CPU, the databases. But this is on database level, not database, but this is server level configuration, right?
Confidence. Okay.
Then from the next part is always on.
Hmm.
So as we heard about that log shipping and mirroring or replication, there is something drawback in all the features basically, right?
Yes.
In a replication, not in mirroring. We are not do automatic failover if you're not using or adding witness server, right?
Yeah.
But in always on, we can work. It is work as along with, as a principle of mirroring. Basically, it will
Mm.
replicating the data from primary node to secondary node.
Second
Means
one.
we can say
Mm.
that active to passive, right?
Okay.
Or we can say that principle to mirror server. But without any witness, we can get a failover,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So, and we can also, there's a drawback in the mirroring. We cannot read the secondary one, right?
Yeah.
The hot backup. But in always and we can read the secondary. Means we have to just pass that parameter, readable secondary,
Yeah. Readable. Mm.
read intent, right?
Mm.
Read intent on basically, right? This is a parameter for connecting the databases secondary replica, right?
Yeah.
So this is about the HADR technologies that is provided by MS SQL Server. So till now we have covered the basic of SQL Server, the theory part, not the practical part.
Static. Yeah.
So the practical part we see, I think tomorrow we can start implementing log shipping, right? We required A and B servers with the
Mm.
same configuration, right? Then we
Okay.
required a shared storage or shared drive for the keeping the log to copy from
Okay.
one server to another server, right?
Another. Okay.
Because we are shipping the log. Shipping means
Mm.
transportation, right?
Yeah. Here to
So
here.
we required, yeah, we
Yeah.
required one location, like just we are shipping that consignment from one zone to another, like airport, like we can say that seaport, right?
Mm.
Where we are landing something, right? And then we can distribute all these things. So we required a one centralized position where we can ship that log, and then that log will be copied from that secondary replica or standby servers, right?
Mm. Yeah.
This is about brief about the log shipping. So we start log shipping tomorrow, right?
Okay.
At I think 8 p.m. Yeah, we can
Mm.
8
Sure.
p.m. and we can complete that one, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I am just sending you this document till this HADR, right?
Okay.
We have
Okay.
covered 62 PPT today, right? Just let
Mm-hmm.
me select that. And if you got chance, just go through it, read it out.
Yeah.
If
Sure.
anything missing, just you can let me know. This
Mm.
is missing here, right? So
Yeah.
I am printing this. Just hold a minute. How can I print this? Not edit. Wait. Not all slides. They have a selection one, right?
Yeah.
Print selection
Makes
one.
sense.
PDF file. This is a PDF, and then shared. Not training. This one. Or we can keep in this one also.
Okay.
SQL Server
Speaking of.
2022.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
2022 April 25.
Okay.
I'm just sending you
Yeah.
on the WhatsApp or the email via, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Just go through it that
Okay.
and let me know if any question, right?
Sure. Sure.
So let me stop this session where it
Okay.
is. Just let me stop this. Stopping.
Hmm.
Okay, tell me, bro.
Durandar called me twice. He's
Why?
calling. Some files came actually.
So this is midnight, na?
Yeah.
Files came is after our office, or we cannot provide support. Simply, if we are logging at 11 a.m. and exit at 8 p.m., after any file is coming, we are not responsible for that.
Yeah.
Else, you can ask join at 1 p.m., log out at 10 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
Simply,
Mm-hmm.
cannot say that. Huh?
Whatever. SARS is not